being the friend, being the sister friend, being the caregiver, yet you're so caught up in the doing or the planning that you don't allow yourself to enjoy the moment. Welcome to episode number 16 of the Overwhelmed to Resilient podcast. I'm Dr. Phyllis, your host. In today's episode, we're going to look at the topic stop capturing the moment and create presence in the moment. How many times have you been in the midst of a celebration, or maybe you're out with your kids or other family members, or maybe even on vacation, or you are supposed to be doing some self care and you're just not able to really enjoy the moment? Even the holidays, you're so caught up in planning the perfect event, the perfect experience. And at the very end, you just feel like there's a void. There's a gap, there's a hole. You're depleted, but there was no joy. Or what about those vacations you're supposed to be taking and you take them, and again, you're so caught up in the planning that you're just as tired when you get home. And then you're right back to work, not rested, and you feel stuck. I get it. I know, because so many times over the years, I was the parent, I was the participant, I was the planner in life of different events and memories that, well, let's be honest, they weren't really memories because I was so caught up in the to-dos and the tasks of the moment that I really didn't enjoy it. I wasn't present. I didn't create memories for myself and wasn't really present for those who were most important that were with me. What I remember most vividly is I remember my kids competed gymnastics. Also, my son and my daughter both were quite involved in music in their schools. And we also used to take vacations, family reunions. But I want to go back to when my kids were competing in gymnastics. I was so caught up in being stressed for them that they'd have a good meet, or they were prepped right in terms of creating the right atmosphere so they could perform their best up on those apparatus. And when we were going to competitions, I was caught up in making sure we got to the competition on time, addressing any fires that came up with, what they needed for the competition, getting to the competition, getting the seat saved so I could sit with the group, getting the right seat, getting the right camera shot, videoing their competition, the floor exercise, the beam, the bars, the vault, you name it. I was capturing. I was one of those parents. Yeah, I was her who had the camcorder and then the cell phone, capturing the moment with the camera. And unfortunately, I did not really allow myself to be engaged and enjoy the memory. I was so busy capturing the moment so that I would have it on tape that I wasn't present at the moment to enjoy it, to enjoy the experience. I was also her who, again, did all the planning to make sure with the travel and make sure everybody was in place. And I infrequently had downtime just to fully be relaxed, to exhale, because more than likely I was running from work, trying to get us out of town, trying to get everything packed, trying to get to all the events. Yet I did not give myself a chance to enjoy the experience. I think about the family reunions when we would take cruises. This was several years ago, and there were very few times that I can say I just let myself just go. I just enjoyed the moment because I was so caught up in, okay, the kids need to get with the kids' activities. Okay, let me make sure, I'm making sure all the family members and extended family are in place. And let me make sure I plan out our off ship, the land experiences, the excursions, and frequently did I allow myself just to laugh and enjoy the moment. And I think that's true for many of us, and I think that's true for you. You're doing things you love. You enjoy being the mom, being the wife, being the grandmother, being the godmother, being the aunt, being the friend, being the sister friend, being the caregiver, yet you're so caught up in the doing or the planning that you don't allow yourself to enjoy the moment. I think about it another way too. Do you know how there's often on a commercial or a movie, they will have the main character just like stopped in one place? And it just seems like the world is moving at a different pace, like in a blur. So have you ever felt that way where you're just seem to be stopped in one place and everybody else is getting to their destination? Often it's because you are pouring into them to help them get to where they need to be, but you're not pouring into yourself, so you're stuck. You're so caught up in the to do and wearing all the hats, which, often we wear like this badge of honor that we're wearing all the hats, but we don't stop to enjoy the moment. And we have a chance, though. You have a chance to turn that around. I turn that around by investing in my physical wellness, my emotional, mental wellness, and my spiritual wellness. Because I'm sure you're like me. God is giving you some signals that you need to get off that treadmill. You need to get off that treadmill. And it's hard. It can be very difficult when that's become your pace. That's just become your way of life. It's hard to step off because often we feel bad about it. We don't know anything else differently than giving out energy to other people. We don't know how to take care of others or provide service to others or I said that, care for others and be a support to others while at the same time being of service to ourselves and pouring in ourselves. But I'm here to tell you, it is doable. You can do it. And you can do it without an enormous amount of guilt. And for those of us like you and me who are wired with big hearts to be of service and to love people and want to see the best in other people and want to connect with others and reflect the love of Christ, we give out a lot of energy. And often we're so caught up in the doing, in the capturing the moment by the doing, almost like we postpone, like, okay, well, I'm going to capture this. I'll come back to it later and I'll enjoy it. Eventually, I'll be able to enjoy it. Just like those videos, if you're like me, you have shelf of videos or your cloud storage is full of videos, or back when we used to, develop a lot of pictures, you have boxes of pictures that just go sit on the shelf because life has moved on to the next thing. And I realize that boxes of pictures are not a replacement for creating presence in the moment. And as you hear me always say, the pillars that I feel are important from going from overwhelmed to resilient is permission, priority, purpose, and presence. And it's doable. If I could do it, and I think I would get the gold medal for Miss Busyness. If I could do it, you can do it too. So I want you, as we're going into the new year, I want you to really stop and look at, are you capturing moments because you're so caught up in the planning, the preparation, the tasks, the to-do list, the ripping and the running, that your brain is so cluttered, you're physically exhausted, spiritually stretched, you're capturing the moment, but you're not present in the moment. You're not enjoying the moment. You're not tapping into your emotions to enjoy the moment of laughter with your family, or if it's watching a child or another friend or family member in a competition. Are you really soaking that up so you can remember how you felt when it happened? Because if we're not careful, you can have a bunch of boxes of photos or videos on the shelf or in your cloud storage, yet in a blink of your eye, you're like, where did life go? It seems like everyone's moving ahead. Everyone else is getting filled, but I'm empty and depleted and I'm just stuck. You have the power today to change the narrative, to change your approach to life, to change the lens that you look at life by stop focusing on capturing moments to look at later, but create presence by being engaged. Put the camera down and be engaged in the moment. It just came to my mind. I was thinking about in the scripture where, the story of Mary and Martha, the two sisters. And, Martha got quite upset. And you will hear me talk about this scripture because it's very impactful. Because I look at that story as the way I used to be. Now, I'm like you. We all have to periodically, and some weeks maybe more frequently, kind of put ourselves in check. But I would say overall, before I really seriously put emphasis on being present in life, I was like Martha. I was so caught up in the doing. But now I can relish the Mary part of me, which is to sit at the feet of Jesus and enjoy the moment. And that's really what that scripture, if you look at it, it's about. Is Martha was so caught up in the doing and she got upset and she wanted Jesus to scold Mary for not helping her. But Mary knew what was most important. She knew to be present because how long she knew Jesus had said he wasn't going to be with them long. So she knows that Mary knew she could always go back later and worry about washing the dishes or these other guests, but she didn't want to lose her blessing while the others were being served. She decided, like, Jesus is a guest in our home. I am going to take advantage of this moment to connect with him. And I know how he's blessed me and where he's brought me from. So I am going to, I'm going to be right here with him. And if you think about that, the more I was just sitting here and thinking about it, that's just so powerful because she made a decision to be different. She made a decision on what she needed to keep going to be resilient. And she was not going to be like her sister Martha, being overwhelmed with all that was going on and all caught up with what was going on. Mary made the decision to be present, set Jesus as a priority, give herself permission because she knew that God had a bigger purpose for her life and that Jesus had come to fulfill God's promise. So as we go into the new year, sis, I pray for you that you will start being present, creating presence in your life, and stop stressing and focusing on capturing the moment. I love you much. I see you. I acknowledge you wearing all the hats, taking care of everybody. And I'm here to remind you that while you take care of everybody, it's okay to take care of you. One doesn't have to be at the sacrifice of the other. May God bless you and keep you until the next time on the Overwhelmed to Resilient podcast. Take care now. Bye bye.